Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Kickdown Garage. Today we'll be looking at the interior. As you can see, I already got all the carpet and seats and everything pulled out of it. The floor pans on the Chevelle were very, very clean, with the exception of one little spot in that area. I'll be showing you a patch repair because it's like a 6-inch squared area. So not too bad to do, something that you can do at home, don't have to bring it to a shop. I will be using an budget-friendly flux core welder. Now many say flux core is not the best, and probably not. But that's what we got, and that's what we will be using. So you can see I got the Dynapad already in and cut and traced, and same with well, I didn't use Dynamat under it. I used Rockville mat because through my research it was basically the same thing. Actually, it was a little bit thicker foil on it than Dynamat, but it was like half the price. So I buy 100 square feet which is one roll for each car I did. So first car I did, not sure what I didn't know how much I needed, so I bought 2 rolls of it. So this is the leftover of the second. This is the second roll, sorry. So as you can see, I'm not a professional YouTuber. So got the back all done already. Once I get the floor patched up front, I can finish the passenger side. We'll get the carpet cleaned and dyed, which I'll show you in another video, and then we'll get that back in. So stay tuned for that stuff, and then we'll move on to, prior to getting that stuff in, we'll get the new radio in, which is coming from Joe's Classic Car Radio. Dropped that off to him, or mailed that into him last year. He's a very busy guy, so taking a little while, but you know, no big hurry on it. Okay, prior to dyeing the carpet, we need to get all the grime and dirt and food that's been accumulated in it over the last 50 years. So instead of buying any professional tools to do it, we use the back massager. So just so you don't take off the wipe totally, put it in a plastic bag. Keep it clean, it'll save you some time at the end and a lot of grief. So once we get it going here, take it, and I don't know if you guys can see, but there is a lot of dirt coming out of it. And I like putting it on these stands so then everything can just fall right away. So that's on low. Let's crank her up to full steam and see what happens. Oh yeah. Actually, there's a lot of dirt coming out both sides, so let's try this. Well, I'm not going to bore you with everything I'm going to be doing here, but I'm going to keep working at this, and I'll bring you guys back in when I'm done, okay? Okay. Well, let me move this stuff out of the way, and hopefully you guys can see. Let me get it here. But right in there is a lot of the dirt that's coming out. And there's still more to come out. I just have to recharge the tool and get back to it, and then I'll meet up with you guys once I'm all done and get it all cleaned, and we'll move on to pressure washing. Not sure if it's picking up on camera, but you can see a lot of dirt still coming out of it, and that's after using that back massager thing and knocking a lot of gravel and dirt and dust out of it, but gradually getting cleaner and cleaner. And then when I'm done, I'll put them up in there, give them one more spray, so if there's any more dirt or gravel, it can wash its way out, let gravity work in our favor. So that's where we'll go from there, and I'll let it sit there and hang and dry. Hey, it's carpet dyeing day here at Kickdown Garage. Don't know if you guys can see, but that's after, this is before. I'm using the RIT dark green dye on the 73 Chevelle's carpet. Just using a hand sprayer. Really no science to doing it. All I went and did is use as hot water as possible that would come out of the tap. Dumped, according to the directions, it says put a little vinegar in it. If it's with a nylon, which I assume this is what the carpet is, and then just dumped in some dye. Didn't really measure anything, just kind of winged it. So I'm gonna rework these areas a little bit more on each side. That's where a little bit more fading was. But we'll go ahead and do this one now and see how well it turns out. Well, we did 2 rounds of the RIT dye. I think it's turning out very, very nicely. Getting rid of the faded brown color and bringing the green back. Let it sit out here and bake in the sun for a while, and hopefully it'll dry up real nicely, and we'll see how it goes when it's done. Okay, now got the Rockville rock mat. Lay that in here. I'll have to do just a little bit of trimming. I kind of just did a rough cut on this first, but shouldn't be too bad. Just a couple relief cuts here in the corner where it wants to bunch up, but you can see exactly where we need to be. And this stuff can kind of overlay each other, so biggest thing we want to do is just to make sure there's not the lumps and bumps, and it will just help everything kind of sit down a little bit more smoothly. So let's see, we'll start at the front here. Now when I did the rest of the floor, I did it over winter, so everything was a little cooler,
And to be honest, I thought it was easier to install. When I did it on the 71 Monty, that was done in the middle of summer, so it was quite warm. Right now it's probably about 65 degrees out, and kind of in between the temps of when I did the rest of the floor and when I did that 71 Monty. And I'll tell you, when the floor pans were cooler, it was actually a little bit easier to lay this stuff down because it's pretty tacky, and it needs to be repositioned. With the floor pans being a little colder, it did not want to stick quite as good, so it was easier. It was actually a little easier to pull up and reposition it. So, let's see how this goes. Now, before doing this, I used a product from, I think it was Spray. I used this product from Sprayway. It's just a glass cleaner. Besides having a decent smell to it, I use it to go and spray the floors to just get any of the residue or anything from any of the grinding and the welding, and get that stuff cleaned up. And just we want to make sure this stuff sticks as best as possible, because the point of this stuff is to kill the vibrations in the floor. So when you're going down the road and the metal flexes and vibrates, kind of like if you take a handsaw and shake it, you get that noise. Well, that's what all these body panels do. And when you add this material to it, it helps eliminate it. So see, I didn't get it quite down into place here. So what I'll do with that, got a little carried away here. Okay, well, I got a little carried away, and didn't get it quite laid down before I got to this point. So it's kind of a high area. So I'll just cut a relief cut in there, and then it'll drop down into place where it needs to be, and everything will be good. But now, what was I saying? Oh, once you get this in, it'll help with the foil back here. It'll help with keeping the heat out, or if you're driving in the winter, heat in. And then biggest thing is killing the noise. So, and then make everything a little bit more enjoyable. But again, this will help a lot with the noise, but then the Dynapad on top of it helps a lot with the road noise. That's what's going to absorb most of the sound. So we'll go and put a layer of that on top, and I tell you, it does work. And it's not that I'm getting promoted by these companies or anything like that. Just giving you guys my honest opinion, and it works really well. Just gonna get everything kind of rolled into position here, and then we'll have another layer that goes on top. And the reason why I do it this way, I like doing these floor pan sections first, and then putting the other panels on top, because then when you get in here, you can overlap. So it'll be like not on top of this stuff, but it'll be overlapping. So if any moisture does get into the compartment here, spill anything, and it gets through the carpeting, it'll roll down and it'll just go on top of this stuff instead of trying to work its way underneath it to your metal floor pan. So hopefully it will help prevent any rust or anything. And if you guys are like me, every time you take one of these cars out, it decides to rain. Won't be a cloud in the sky until you're 20 miles away from home. Suddenly it's class 5 hurricane season. We're not even by the ocean. Yeah, you just want to make sure this gets really pressed down into place. Like I said, about 100 square feet of this, and that was more than enough for the car. 50 would not cover it. It comes in 50 and 100 foot rolls, and pretty much went right up to here. On the 71, I went up way up under the dash because I had the dash out. This one, the dash isn't coming out, so went up to here and went all the way up, halfway up the back. So and just do one more little cut right here. Not caring for how that's laying down. There. And a lot of people say you don't need to cover every inch of the floor, which I'm not going up into the sides or anything, but since we're using this trying to kill the heat, I'm covering up as much of the floor as I possibly can. Okay.
Okay, well, here's how it looks. A little bit better lighting in here. I got it all covered. Missed a little bit right there, but that's not that bad. That'll be just fine. So, but went all the way up underneath there and turned out pretty well. So now we'll get the Dyna pad laying in here. Get that put up into place. Get everything working good. And you can see, okay, well, as you can see, there's the Dyna pad down. You can see where I did the relief cuts in there. And then there's the the Rockville rock mat. Missed a little bit right in there, but it's not that bad. Went up under the dash there. But here's that carpet. You guys are looking at that. Now that's the first time I used the liquid dye, and that turned out really well. I've dyed the carpet on the bottom of the door panels before, that usually are right in that area. But that was with the powdered stuff. This is the first time with liquid, and I liked it. Like I said, this is just the dark green, and turned out really uniform. Just put in as hot as water that would come out of the old faucet and sprayed it on. Yeah, there we go. All right, well, now that we got this stuff all in, we'll go and get the Dyna liner laid down up to that point. That has the adhesive on the back, so it'll stay put. And then we can get the front carpet thrown back in. Now, I'm not going to go through the work to put the sill plates in or anything like that yet, because once my new radio comes in, I have to run new wiring back to the back speakers, because this is the original radio, and the new radio is going to actually look identical to this, other than the insides of it is going to be all modern technology. So I'll have the Bluetooth on it, and just be, I guess, digital on the inside. So it'll work better, because this one does not work that great. Actually, I don't even think it works at all. Well, it works sometimes whenever it feels like it, which is usually never. I'll show you guys here. This is how the back ended up turning out. And then I'll have a thinner dyno liner that will go over all this stuff. And that just is actually really thin. So it'll fit behind the panels, and once I get the seat in, there'll be a board that will go across the back, trunk divider, and the trunk divider goes in here. But again, I'm waiting on the radio to come. And once I get the radio, then I have to order the wire harness for it. And there was a guy, I believe he's out of Pennsylvania, that's doing the wire harness for me. But I just need to see what kind of leads the radio will have on it before I have that made up. So a lot of this stuff will have to come back out again to run the wire harness, because that will come in from underneath, follow, I believe it's just in this channel. You can see it right there. That goes back up into here, and it'll come out there. But originally the speaker is grounded through themselves, right through the speaker, right to the body. But the new radios will have 2 wires. So the new harness will have the same ends as this, and everything will look identical, other than there'll be 1 more wire in here. So, and actually it's going to be more, because now I'm going to stereo, so there'll be a speaker over there. So I can make my own, but it will look nice with what I got coming. On the 71, I had one made up, and it went really easy. Everything was just pretty much just plugged right in. He gave me the right ends that will attach to the back of the radio, so then so I'll wire that part in, and then everything will just plug right in. So make things easier, make it look pretty factory. Just got a little bit of the rock mat to put over on that side still on, and we'll be done. Getting closer. Okay, and then we'll show you guys here. I cut out around there. Make sure you want to get rid of any of the sound deadening or anything below where the seat belts or the seats mount to, because that should be mounted right to the body. We don't want any cushion in there so there's no movement. I did the same right in there. And again, if you guys do replace your carpet because the original carpet's bad or whatever it might be, keep the original carpet until you get the new carpet, so you can, if anything, measure and trace out all this stuff if you want to do it back to original. So at least the new carpet will have that original appearance. So, vacuuming, but get the stuff pulled in. It's looking really good. So yeah, found that out the hard way. I threw away a section of carpet before the new stuff came in, and then I had to do a little bit of research on the internet trying to get it to match as close as you can. Now, if you do trace it, I won't trace it to the extent of this. Make sure you get it all laid in, because it probably will lay a little bit different, and then do your final trimming once you get it in. But at least this way, you can get a lot of that stuff looking like the factory appearance. So if that matters to you. Now, I'm a purist for trying to keep things as original as possible. So you might ask, why am I going with the Dynapad? Because I want it to be quiet. Now, I like things original, but there is an extent that I'll go to make things a little more comfortable and a little bit more enjoyable. I like a good radio, but I want the appearance of originals, so that's why I went that way. I'm not going to cut up the dash and put a digital style one in, but I want some tunes when I'm cruising down the road. And then also I want it to be quiet, so I can hear those tunes. So that's what we got going on. So think it's turning out pretty good. Why don't you guys comment below on what kind of sound deadening you like to do and how original you like to keep your cars. Let a guy know what your thoughts are on the matter. One of the things I wanted to show you guys is the parking brake mechanism. As you can see, it looks pretty good. I mean, it looks almost brand new. Now, when I got the car, totally rusted. Wouldn't move, locked up, the cable was bad. You can see right there, that was all bad. I took everything out. I went and I submerged the mechanism in evaporust and let it sit there for a couple of days, and it came out spotless. I mean, it was really nice. So then what I did is took the mechanism, clear coated it so no rust would come back, and I left the black part of the lever out of the evaporust so that wouldn't get affected. So that's the original black paint on it. Just clear coated it with like a matte paint, I believe, just so it'd have the appearance of not being painted in original. And then I threw a new cable on. And let me show you something on the cable. Okay, now here's the cable where it comes through the firewall and goes underneath. So I routed everything like that as original. The only thing I did is the grommet that came with the new cable wasn't even close to how the original one was. And the original one was still really pliable, flexible, so I took that one off and I put that off the old cable onto the new one, so it'll go. Now it's not quite sitting up there right because when I did it, I had the fender wells in. Now that I got the fender wells out, I can get to it a little bit better. So before everything goes back, I'll get that put up into place. And then now I have a working parking brake. So again, just as a pointer, if you do replace it, if that grommet is still in decent usable condition from the original cable, you might want to use that one. Okay, we got the back seat portion here, and from years of the sun beating down, this was all deteriorated. Now this is the original fabric here, but this was all deteriorated. So I brought a picture over to the upholstery shop, had him put a cap on the top there, and he did a really good job. Got a nice bead in there, he tucked everything in here. This is actually almost identical in color, real close. It's kind of got a black, it's green, but it's got a black kind of haze going throughout, and same with the side, so it looks really good. Certain trim levels did come with a cap on the back from what I could find in different pictures, so this looks appropriate. And that way it saved me a lot of money and hassle trying to get a back seat to match, because the front seat's actually in really good shape. So, and all that was bad was just that top portion. Well, made some progress here. Got the interior pretty much buttoned up. So now I'm still waiting on the new radio. So I don't have the rear seat bolted in. It's just kind of sitting there. Nobody's gonna be riding back there anyway. But once the radio comes in, I can run the wires down. I'll have to pull that out, tuck those through, and that can go back in, and I can put the seat belts in back there. But got the seat belts in, everything hooked up, tightening down the carpet in. Just gotta do the sill plate here. On this side, might hold off on the passenger side because of that wire harness, but otherwise got that all pretty much buttoned up. So at least as soon as I can get the front done, wheel wells back in, and a few other things finished up there, I'll be able to drive it. Weather's finally getting nice here. It's 74 degrees right now. So I want to kind of get this car done so I can start driving it. Yeah, I am really impressed with how that carpet turned out. Looks really good. Still have to get one more good vacuuming once I'm all done, but since I'm going to be going in and out and then also once the radio comes in, seat might come back out again to get up behind the dash there. It's a lot easier with this out of the way, it can just lay nice and flat versus getting all tangled up in there.